So having completed the new business wizard and set up our risk management framework and then added risks to our risk profile, the next step is to add in controls. There are a couple of ways to add in controls, and I'm going to start by showing you manually adding controls using the control editor. So if I go into a risk and navigate to the controls section of the risk, I can link an existing control, click on the editor button, and it will take me into the control editor where I can manually add in the control title and description, change the review interval for that control, mark the control as either implemented or planned. So implemented controls are ones that are up and running at the moment, and planned ones are controls that we might choose to implement in the future. Below that, you can see that it links it to the particular health and safety risk that I clicked through. And from there, we can select the impact on likelihood for that control against that risk. On a scale of no impact through to excellent impact, you just choose the one that feels most appropriate based on the descriptions that are given there. And at the bottom, you can see the effect of selecting that particular rating on the likelihood adjustment. Once you've selected the consequence and likelihood impact and entered in the data, you can save that new control and it will link it through to that particular risk. The other way that we have to add controls is using AI control recommendations. And if we click on this Add Controls AI button, you'll see that that will start our AI, which will consider the nature of the risk framework for the organization, and other contexts that it understands about the business, and it will derive some control recommendations. So this is a good way to get an idea of what controls you could put in place to manage this. And you can see that all of these controls that have been identified are marked as new. If we had existing controls that the AI thought was relevant, it would show those up here as well. So let's just say that we want to select the top two controls. We can select those and go Add Controls. Now you'll see that they've automatically been added and linked to this particular risk, and that they're marked as planned. So when we have planned controls, we end up with a forecast risk rating that you can see here in the green. So our current risk rating is the inherent, because we don't have any controls operating. Once we implement these two controls, we can expect to end up with our risk being within our appetite. The way that we mark controls as implemented is we go into here, click Edit Control, change the control status to implemented, and then we can click Done. Now we can scroll back down to the controls section. We see that that first control has been implemented, and you can see that as a result of that, the rating has moved from an inherent level to a residual level. It's still outside of appetite, and we still have a forecast level that is within appetite. So that would mean that we need to implement these routine safety audits, and once we had comprehensive training and safety audits, we would feel that that risk was being managed within our established appetite. Now that we've added in a range of controls, you'll see that these are represented in various ways on the dashboard. Firstly, we have a plan controls section. This allows you to track your plan control activity, and we show the number of risks that that control is attached to help you prioritize your work efforts in that space. Below that, we have control review section. This highlights controls that are either not reviewed or due for review. We also have on the left-hand side a controls section where you can review all of the controls that you have within your risk profile, and similarly one for plan controls so that you can see all of your plan controls in one place. Now that we've entered risks and controls, the next step in our process will be to monitor and review our risk profile on an ongoing basis, and we'll cover that off in our next video.